Awesome. Hello, GCC, and welcome to another one of our employer spotlights. My name is Dakota Weber, and I work in career services at GCC. I am joined here today by Tracy. She is the Human Resources Coordinator at Planned Parenthood Arizona, and we're going to talk a little bit about some job opportunities. Just a quick reminder to any of our viewers watching, if you have any questions or you need some clarifying comments, go ahead and throw those in the comments section of this video and we'll be able to answer those live. If there's no questions, I guess we'll go ahead and move on forward. Tracy, if you want to talk to us a little bit about Planned Parenthood and the opportunities you have available.
Yeah, thank you so much, Dakota. Hi, everyone. My name is Tracy Sands. First, before I get into an introduction, I actually want to say thank you for this opportunity. I think this is such a unique experience to be able to connect and engage with people who are looking for jobs and for community members and organizations to just come together in this regard. So thank you. But yes, my name is Tracy Sands. I am the HR coordinator at Planned Parenthood Arizona, who handles all of our recruiting efforts. I've been at Planned Parenthood for about almost 2 years. I started out as the education intern, and then I also did some political organizing work, and now I'm in HR, so here to meet you today. And I'm just really excited to talk to you about all of the various things that Planned Parenthood does and what opportunities there are for you to join our team. And the way I'm going to go about this is I'm going to talk about the who, what, and where, all grounded in the why. Planned Parenthood is an organization that is really grounded in their mission. And so I will always be weaving our mission into what we do. So who is Planned Parenthood? Planned Parenthood Arizona is made up of a diverse group of people who are passionate about accessible, affordable, inclusive, and holistic healthcare. So that's quite a lot, especially in regards to today's healthcare in the United States. It's really not any of these things. So it takes a huge support network for us to be able to uphold our mission. And so that means the people who are involved in our organization are healthcare workers, organizers, fundraisers, educators, finance, the call center, and also the equity and diversity inclusion department. So we have all of these people with all sorts of talents, backgrounds, and experiences, and they all come together in unison to work toward this mission. And we're really proud about that. So what is it that we do? We actually do a lot of stuff. I think a lot of people only know us for our healthcare, but we do quite a bit more than that. So our 3 pillars that help us support our mission is healthcare, advocacy, and education. And if you work at Planned Parenthood, you are within one of these pillars. And not only are you within one of them, you're usually working across all the pillars because we rely on each one to support the other. So for example, we're only able to provide the healthcare that we do because our advocacy team ensures that it's legal and that it's funded, and vice versa for education as well. We need our advocacy team to be able to fight for comprehensive sex education to be able to be into the classrooms. So we're really a tight-knit community in what we do. All of it is intertwined with each other. But as far as the specifics go, for healthcare, we provide both family planning and abortion services. That includes pregnancy testing, STI testing, birth control methods, exams, counseling, and patient education. So we really do a lot in our healthcare centers. For advocacy, we do focus primarily locally in Planned Parenthood Arizona. So we do a lot of local political work. With that said, we also do fight federal as well because they both interact with each other. And our advocacy work is all about fighting to support politicians and laws that support reproductive rights and reproductive justice. And then our 3rd pillar is education. So Planned Parenthood is the #1 sexuality educator in the United States, and that's something that we're super proud of in Arizona because sexuality education is not well supported in our schools. So we provide programs and workshops that work directly with parents and caregivers, sex educators themselves, as well as other community partners that work with youth. In addition to that, we also have a huge online resource database that is vetted by all of our sex educators that allows people to educate themselves based on things that are culturally relevant and medically accurate that talk about your body and the way that you experience sexuality within your body. So that's what we do high level. It's a lot. And so where do we work? Planned Parenthood Arizona has 7 healthcare centers in the state of Arizona. Glendale, which why we're talking to you today, 2 in Phoenix, Tempe, Mesa, Flagstaff, and Tucson. So in order to be accessible, we have to have locations throughout the state. And so we're really proud of our reach in that regard. And as far as advocacy and education, we do provide that. We don't need the physical space, so we provide that anywhere and everywhere to meet our community members. So what opportunities are there to join the Planned Parenthood Arizona team? The first one and the most important one, and I say the most important because it has direct action with our community, which is our patient care, and that is healthcare assistants. So we are hiring for both Glendale and Tempe for healthcare assistants. And with this job, you would be doing both front and back office work. And so what I mean by that is you would be doing everything from checking in patients, checking medical records, billing, to back office, which would be taking vitals, blood work, assisting our providers, and providing patient education. So you're doing the whole spectrum of like intimate patient work, which is really exciting. In addition to that, this position would offer full-time hours, and that also means you would be benefit eligible with PTO. And benefit eligible just means that once you hit your 90-day introductory period, all of the benefits that we offer are available to you if you choose to enroll in those. And finally, I think this is one of the cooler things about this position is that it has direct growth opportunities. So for example, dependent on your experience, if you come in as a healthcare assistant and you've never had like patient care experience, you would start out as entry level. And as you gain skills, you would become like proficient 1, proficient 2, and then our compensation would match those skill sets. So we really support growth and development for all of our healthcare assistants. And then the big question, how do you apply? So you would go to this link, jobs.lever.co/PPAZ. That's a great way to do it. But if you're like me and you will not remember that link at all, you can also just Google PPAZ jobs and it'll take you right to the link. That link will have all of our job opportunities, not just the healthcare assistant ones and not just the local ones, so statewide, how we're hiring. And so that's all I have for you today. I hope that I was able to shed some light on all the things that Planned Parenthood does and where we're hiring and how we're hiring. But if you have any questions, I welcome it. I look forward to connecting with you in any capacity. All my information is down on the bottom right. Feel free to call, text, email. I'm available to you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Tracy. I'll go ahead and remove that and we'll ask a couple questions. What is a tip that you could give students if they're wanting to apply to this position? Like during the recruiting process, is there any tips that you've seen in the past that have made a student shine brighter than the others?
Definitely. I think it's always nice to hear something from your own words or experience. So anytime there's an opportunity to do a cover letter or a fill in the blank about do you abide by this mission, sharing a little bit of yourself as to why you want to join this team or why you are a part of this mission, that really goes a long way, especially like I said, for Planned Parenthood, we're mission grounded. So that's super helpful. And just allowing your personality to come through your resume. Like a resume doesn't have to be strictly professional and kind of blah. Like it can show who you are. And so I really appreciate applications like that.
Yeah, absolutely. So we have a question. Izelle asked, she thinks you talked about this, but what was the requirements for the healthcare assistance position? Does someone need a background check done, a fingerprint clearance card, any special requirements?
Yeah, great question. I did not get into the details of that. So thank you, Isel, for bringing that up. So our requirements for healthcare assistance is pretty minimal. We do require a high school or GED. We do background checks, but we are not discriminatory on backgrounds. Like, we work with people based on whatever comes up. And as far as experience goes, we do not require any direct medical experience. We pride ourselves in on-the-job training, and it's a perfect job to just kind of get into the medical field. So those are pretty much the requirements. Other than that, we welcome a lot of people. We have all sorts of experiences in the healthcare system and how they apply. So
great. Yeah, it sounds like a great entry-level position for our students. Once a student is in a position at Planned Parenthood Arizona, are there any educational benefits if a student wants to go back to school and further their education?
So currently we don't have an actual system to set up where we would pay for schooling in that regard. With that said, a lot of our healthcare assistants do go to school full-time in addition, or part-time. So we are pretty flexible with schedules in that regard. And as far as like on-the-job training, if say there's a healthcare assistant who's really interested in ultrasound, like that's something that they would like to explore a bit more, we would ensure that they get training so that they can become like ultrasound proficient and stuff. So there's a lot of on-the-job training as well in that regard.
Perfect. Let's see. I think we kind of answered all the questions. I guess, is there anything else you'd like to share with the students just about the organization itself? I think for students, it's really important to know about culture. Especially for people who are millennials or Gen Z, I think that's very important for them to hear. So is there anything you want to share about the organization itself?
Yes. So I love this question because one of my favorite things about working at Planned Parenthood Arizona is this weird, exciting energy, because everyone's there because they care about what they're doing. And it's such a, like, I feel like what we do is so people focused. I mean, healthcare, sexuality, like all of that is really intimate, and being able to liberate, yourself and the people next to you in that regard, like there's just this energy where people are ready to get stuff done. And to me, that's more than a job, and it makes me want to do better all the time in my job and outside of my job. So I would say that the energy in that regard is probably the best thing about our culture.
That's awesome. Yeah, I think it's really important when you're working for an organization to know, is your passion going to be reciprocated by those around you? And that makes you even more passionate as a group. So
yeah, and there's just so much work to be done in everything that we're trying to do. So if you are ready to work and you're ready to make a difference, like you can do that here.
That's great. We have another question from a viewer. Her name's Lindsay. Is there an age minimum to apply?
No, thank you, Lindsay. I appreciate that question. There is no minimum. Like I said, we do require a high school diploma or GED. So that would probably require, depending on when you graduate, usually like 16 to however, that would probably be the only one. But no, we welcome people of all ages.
Perfect.
For any position.
Perfect. So let's talk about maybe some skills that students would need to be successful in this position. Are there any that you would recommend a student focuses on when they're doing their application?
Yeah, great question. So I think one of the things that is most important is communication skills, being able to connect with the patient and being able to share information with them. In healthcare, it's really important to understand not only like this is what needs to happen or this is what's going to happen, but why. And so I think being able to connect with people is really important. I would also just say being able to have curiosity and a willingness to jump in and learn. As far as like the hard skills, like taking vitals or blood work, that is definitely something that is very teachable. So I would say outside of that, communication skills.
Perfect. We are reaching our 15-minute mark, but I do want to ask one more question, kind of a lighthearted question, but as a recruiter, what is one of the funniest or most impactful stories that you've had during an application process?
Oh, man. I don't know if I could really say one, but I think my favorite thing about this is by the time so I'm always the first person of contact doing the phone screens and then onboarding. So once you're hired on, I would do all the initial training with you. And I feel like at the end of that point, I have like a best bud. And it's like so fun to spend that week with them. And then they leave to go to their health center. And it's always like this morning session where it's like, oh my gosh, like I'm so sad you're leaving me. But I just think that's the best part is like, I don't know, creating friendships through this because you really get to know someone throughout the recruiting process.
That's awesome. I think it's nice to hear some stories about, what you experience as a recruiter. I think it makes it more approachable as a person trying to apply, that you are a human as well. And it's not that scary of a process when you bring that into light. But
no, we're here to support each other through that. Like, the candidate has something that that we don't have that we're looking for. And so being confident in that and just presenting your best self, and we're here to learn and work together. So, yeah.
Perfect. Well, we're going to wrap it up here. But thank you so much for joining us and sharing about your experiences. For our viewers, just a reminder, we are on social media for career services. You can follow us on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, and of course, YouTube. And those are all posted in the description of this video if you want to give us a follow. But thank you so much, Tracy, again, for meeting with us and talking more about these awesome job opportunities. It sounds like these are great entry-level positions for our students who are wanting to get into that healthcare advocacy positions.
Perfect. Thank you, Dakota, and thank you, GCC. I appreciate it.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah.